Good evening, everyone. My name is Victor, and I'm going to read The Brown Deer and the Three Wise Deers by Victor Manuel Moramota, the first tale. Okay, let's get started. Once upon a time, there was a caring boy called Brown Deer. He was on the way to see his best friend Grey Horse when he decided to take a shortcut through Gargle Bridge. It wasn't long before Brown got lost. He looked around, but all he could see were trees. Nervously, he fell into his bag for his favorite toy, Brown. But Brown was nowhere to be found. Brown began to panic. He felt sure he had packed. Brown, to make matters worse, he was starting to feel hungry. Unexpectedly, he saw a wise deer dressed in a gray bowler hat disappearing into the trees. For the want of anything better to do, he decided to follow the peculiarly dressed deer. Perhaps it could tell him the way out of the forest. Eventually, Brown reached a clearing. He found himself surrounded by houses made from different sorts of food. There was a house made from carrots, a house made from cupcakes, a house made from jelly babies, and a house made from cakes. Brown could feel his tummy rumbling. Looking at the houses did nothing to ease his anger. "Hello," he called. "Is anybody there?" Nobody replied. Brown looked at the roof on the closest house and wondered if it would be rude to eat somebody else's chimney. Obviously, it would be impolite to eat a whole house, but perhaps it would be considered acceptable to nibble the odd feature or lick the odd fitting in a time of need. A crackle broke through the air, giving Brown a fright. At which jumped into the space in front of the houses. She was carrying a cake, and a cake was brown. "Brown," shouted Brown. He turned to the witch. "That's my toy." The witch was shrunk. "Give Brown back," cried Brown. "Not on your knee," said the witch. At least Brown out of the cake. Before she could reply, three wise deer runched in front of a footpath on the other side of the clearing. Brown recognized the one in the gray bowler hat that he'd seen earlier. The witch seemed to recognize him too. "Hello, big deer," said the witch. "Good morning." The deer noticed Brown. "Who is this?" "That's Brown," explained the witch. "Oh, Brown, what look lovely in my house. Give it to me," demanded the deer. The witch shook her head. "Brown is staying with me." Excuse me?" Brown interrupted. "Brown lives with me, and not in a cage." A big deer ignored him. "Is there nothing you'll trade?" he asked the witch. The witch thought for a moment, then said, "I do like to be entertained. I release him to anybody who can eat a whole front door." Big Deer looked at the house made from cakes and said, "No problem. I could eat an entire house made from cakes if I wanted to." "That's nothing," said the next deer. "I could eat 2 houses. There's no need to show off," said the witch. "Just eat 1 front door and I'll let you have Brown." Brown watched, feeling very worried. He didn't want the witch to give Brown the big deer. He didn't think Brown would like living with a wise deer away from his house and all his other toys. The other 2 deers watched while Big Deer put on his bib and withdrew a knife and fork from his pocket. "I'll eat this whole house," said Big Deer. "Just you watch." Big Deer pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from cupcakes and gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more and more and more. Eventually, Big Deer started to get bigger. Just a little bit bigger at first, but after a few more forkfuls of cupcakes, he grew to the size of the large snowball, and he was every bit as round. I don't feel too good, said Big Deer. Suddenly he started to roll. He'd grown so round that he could no longer balance. Help! He cried, at the roll off down the slope into the forest. Big Deer never finished eating the front door made from cupcakes, and Brown remained trapped in the witch cake. Average Deer stepped up and approached the house made from jelly babies. I'll eat this whole house, said Average Deer, just to watch. Average Deer pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from jelly babies. She gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more, and more, and more. After a while, Average Deer started to look a little kissing. She grew greener. A woodcutter walked into the clearing. What's the Bosch doing here? He asked. I'm not a Bosch. I'm a deer, said Average Deer. It talks, exclaimed the woodcutter. Those talking bushes are the worst kind. I better take it away before somebody gets hurt. No, wait, cried Average Deer as a woodcutter picked her up. But the woodcutter ignored her cries and carried the deer away under his arm. Average Deer never finished eating the front door made from jelly babies, and Brown remained trapped in the witch cake. Little Deer stepped up and approached the house made from cakes. I'll eat this whole house, said Little Deer, just to watch. Little Deer pulled off a corner of a door on the front door of the house made from cakes. He gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more, and more, and more. After 5 or 6 playfuls, Little Deer started to fidget uncomfortably on the spot. He stopped eating cakes for a moment, then grabbed another cornful. But before he could eat it, there came a mighty roar. A button barked louder than a rocket taking off, propelled Little Deer into the sky. "Ugh!" cried Little Deer. "I'm scared of height." Little Deer was never seen again. Little Deer never finished eating the front door made from cakes, and Brown remained trapped in the witch cake. "That's it," said the witch. "I win. I get to keep Brown. Not too fast," says Brown. "There is still one front door to go, the front door of the house made from carrots, and I haven't had a turn yet." "I don't have to give you a turn," laughed the witch. "My game, my rules." The woodcutter's voice carried through the forest. "I think you should give him a chance. It's only fair." "Fine," said the witch, "but you saw what happened to the deer. He wasn't lost long." "I'll be right back," said Brown. What? said the witch. What's your sense of impatience? I thought I wanted Brown back. Brown ignored the witch and gathered a hefty pile of sticks. He came back to the clearing and started a small campfire. Carefully he brought a piece of door of the house made from carrots and toasted it on the fire. Once it had cooked and cooled just a little, he took a bite. He quickly discovered the whole piece. Brown sat down on a nearby lawn. "You failed," cried the witch. "You were supposed to eat the whole door." "I haven't finished," explained Brown. "I'm just waiting for my food to go down." When Brown's food had digested, he broke off another piece of door made from carrots. Once more, he toasted his food over the fire and waited for it to cool just a little. He ate it at a leisurely pace, then waited for it to digest. Eventually, after several sittings, Brown was down at the final piece of the door made from carrots. Carefully, he toasted it and allowed it to cool just a little. He finished his final course. Brown had eaten the entire front door of the house made from carrots. The witch stamped her foot angrily. "This man have tricked me," she said. "I don't reward cheating. I don't think so, said a voice. It was the woodcutter. He walked back into the clearing carrying the axe. The little boy won't fair and square now. Hand over Brown, or I will chop your broomstick in half. The witch looked horrified. She grabbed her broomstick and replaced it behind her. Then, huffing, she opened the door of the cake. Brown hurried over and dropped Brown, shaking that his favorite toy was all right. Fortunately, Brown was unhurt. Brown turned to the woodcutter, grabbed a quick souvenir, and hurried on to the mid-grade. It was starting to get dark. When Brown got to Gray's house, his best friend threw his arms around him. I was so worried, cried Gray. You are very late. As Brown described his date, he could tell that Gray didn't believe him. So he grabbed a napkin from his pocket. What's that? asked Gray. Brown unwrapped a doorknob made from cupcakes. Pudding, he said. Gray almost fell off his chair.